Hi there, this is Kevin Ginsberg. I'm from Ambassador Automobile, and I'm sitting here with my client Ron, who has this beautiful 1971 Tomaso Pantera that he's decided to consign with me. And Ron has owned this car since 1974.
That's right.
And I'd like to hear a little bit about your ownership history and how you came about getting this car.
I found an ad in the newspaper and went to look at the car, fell in love with the car immediately. The color is just outstanding.
Stunning.
And put a deal together with the gentleman that had the car. And he worked for Ford Motor Company, parts depot in northern New Jersey. And he told me that Ford owned this car originally to put in the different dealer showrooms where they wouldn't buy a Pantera to put on the floor.
Okay, so he basically, Ford used the car to promote it and to convince the dealers that it was a car that they should have in the showroom for them to
That's
sell.
right.
Okay.
And so we moved around from dealer to dealer, and eventually, I guess that stopped once we got into 1972.
Okay.
And then he purchased the car from Ford, and he held on to it for a couple of years and decided that he wanted to sell it. And I bought the car from him.
Okay. When you bought the car from him, he's the one who gave you a little bit of the history on the car, that
That's
it was
right.
the show car. He also told you a little bit about it after it was done being displayed. Ford actually took the car back and repainted it?
Yes, they repainted this car because being in the dealerships, everybody's touching it, and they marked it up quite a bit. So they repainted the whole car.
And Ford's the one who did that, Ford Motor Company.
Right, done
Okay.
by Ford Motor.
In its original color.
That's right.
Okay, excellent. So, you purchase the car from this gentleman, and you get the car home, and at what point do you realize how much you love this car?
No, right from the start, when started to get involved in autocrossing,
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
and we were driving the car to autocrosses.
Where were the autocrosses that you were driving it to?
All in New York State. I don't think it went to Connecticut. All
Okay.
in New York State.
Okay.
All over the place. Across the Hudson River, this side of the Hudson River. And then I figured out I could do a lot better if I put 4 slicks on the car.
Okay.
And to do that, now we needed some form of transportation for the car.
Yeah, a little tough to drive the car back and forth to the autocross with slicks on it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I bought an enclosed car carrier to carry the car, and we did very well with the car. The car is a constant winner. I believe it has to do with the gearing, first and second gear, which is right on the money. The car really moves when you.
And with autocrossing, it's not about the top speed, it's all about
No,
the
it's just
consistent low speed.
Getting there,
Right.
getting there. You're running against the clock,
Sure.
and getting there in the quickest time.
Okay.
Driving is part of it, but the car has a lot to do with it.
Sure. Absolutely.
Um,
Did you go to these autocrosses alone?
no, my wife and my son came with me.
Okay. How old was he at the time, roughly?
Roughly
Give me a
4
ballpark.
or 5 years old,
Okay.
and he was always there.
And we'll show some pictures of him at the autocrosses at that point that you've saved over the years.
And eventually, because of changing businesses, we stopped autocrossing, and the car got put into storage.
Okay. you told me something about another Pantera that came into your life at some point also, which just talks about the passion you had for this car. Tell me about that one.
Well, I love this car so much. I heard that this is 1975 now, that there were still new 1974 Panteras available.
Mm.
So I started calling dealers all around the Northeast
Mm-hmm.
to find out if they would, are they going to get any more
Okay.
Panteras in. And I found a dealer that said maybe. And about a month later, he called me
Mm-hmm.
and he told me that he had 3 that just came in that afternoon. A red one, a forest green one, and a silver GTS.
Okay.
And I told him that we would be up in Connecticut in a couple hours to look at the cars.
As fast as you could get there.
I mean,
As fast as you could get there.
that is right. And
When
we
you
looked
got
at the
up
3
there.
cars. They were lined up right next to each other. They were filthy, dirty, a total mess.
Mm-hmm.
There was a red one. Well, I said that already.
Yep.
And I said to my wife, which one do you like? And she says, the dark green is too dark. The GTS, she said, I really don't like the fender wells that are on there, the way they set that up. She says, I really like the red car. And that was it. We gave the man a deposit, and I told him not to clean the car. And he couldn't believe that I was buying a new car, and I wanted to drive it out of the dealership dirty.
You wanted to clean it yourself.
That's right. We, my brother and I cleaned this car. We put a lot of time into cleaning that car up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sold the car, there are 2 little decals on the front parking lights that said USA.
Mm-hmm.
That meant that those cars were geared with that sticker going to the United States.
Sure.
And we never cleaned that off. And the man who purchased that car went nuts over the stickers,
Mm-hmm.
that they were still there.
Kind of like the way I did with the Campagnola stickers on these wheels because they're original.
That's right.
Not to interrupt you, how many miles does your car have on it right now?
A little over 6,000 miles.
6,000 miles. And how many miles on it roughly did it have when you bought it?
We looked at the title earlier. It was 3,000 miles.
So you put 3,000 miles through your entire ownership since 1974 of this car.
That's right.
So clearly a car needs to be cared for while you own it. And we're sitting in your garage, which as I look around me, I can tell you this is a pretty self-sufficient garage. It looks like you could do just about anything you want to do to a car here.
That's right.
So taking care of this car, who did that?
I did all the work on this car.
You did, throughout all the years.
Initially, you know.
Yeah. And you took care, so from the autocrossing to the maintenance, anything that the car needed, you personally
That's
did
right.
that in your garage.
It's never been in a shop.
Why wouldn't you bring it to a shop?
Pardon me?
Why wouldn't you bring it to a shop?
Because you're letting other people touch it and you don't know what they're doing.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. And on top of it, you're extremely capable of doing it, so,
That's right.
and it probably brings you pleasure too.
I've been fixing cars and trucks since I was 17 years old, and that is not my profession.
I gotcha. So, you work on cars, you brought your son, started him coming to autocrossing at 4 or 5 years old with your wife. You bring in the car trailer in the car, and now we're sitting here many years later, and you made a decision that it's time to let someone else be the caretaker.
That's right.
Because all we are caretakers.
Well, that's it.
Tell me something today. What are one of the things you're most proud of?
Well, I'm most proud of my family being involved in something that I started working on, you know, when I was 17 years old.
Sure.
My son is involved in cars, and his 2 children are now involved in cars.
And what shop do they do all the work in?
Pardon me,
And what shop do they do all the work in?
in this garage right here.
That's right. So you have 3 generations that you're proud of because you brought the car passion to them,
That's right.
and that will continue on. And we know how hard that is in today's world. Ron, it has been not only a pleasure to meet you, to become a friend of yours, for you to trust me with something that has been pridefully owned by you for many, many years. And I can't thank you enough for not only taking the time to do this video with me, but like I said, trusting me to get this to its next caretaker. And we can only hope that we find someone who has as much passion as you and your family do about these cars. Thank you for sharing your story with me. I really appreciate it.
Okay.